The night alert in Kiev lasted exactly 3 hours. It was the 820th air alert for the capital since the beginning of the full-scale Russian invasion. Russian terrorists also attacked Kherson today. One of the targets was again an Orthodox cathedral, where firefighting operations were underway after the previous shelling. 4 rescue workers were wounded. A trolley bus traveling next to the cathedral was also damaged in the attack on civilian targets. 3 passengers were injured. Andriy Yermak, head of the Ukrainian president's office, indicated that the Russians shelled Kherson with artillery. Meanwhile, at the front lines of the war, when the Ukrainian deminers found the bodies of Russian troops at an abandoned position, something about the corpses looked wrong. 47-year-old sapper Volodymyr has possibly the most dangerous job in Ukraine, clearing landmines at the front. Every day brings deadly risk, trying to make the ground safe, first for their fellow soldiers to advance, and eventually for civilians to go home. Deminers like Volodymyr use kittens, which are folding steel hooks that sappers use to dislodge booby traps, nicknamed for its retractable tongues that spring out like cat's claws. 200 meters from the bridge was a Russian position. There were 3 or 4 of their dead. 2 guys were lying on each other, which made it suspicious, because if there had been an explosion, they would have been thrown in different directions. But here one was lying on the other. We did well by not touching them, because when we reached there with a kitten hook, we saw that under them was a Soviet-era anti-personnel mine. It exploded and blew up both of them. But we stayed safe, thank God. Russians even mine their own brothers in arms. They say that they'd never abandon one of their own kind. However, when they leave their positions, they plant quite a lot of explosives under their own soldiers. Why are they doing this? Because they know that our med evacuation groups lift the wounded and the dead, under which they then find these explosives. And this is very dangerous for us. Landmines inflicted a colossal toll in the first month of the counteroffensive launched in June. Since the mines forced commanders to slow the advance, the number of wounded arriving at the hospitals has dramatically decreased. However, the sappers are still getting killed. Meanwhile, Ukraine's factories have tooled up to make equipment to help keep the sappers safer. In addition to the kitten hooks, Volodymyr's unit has been sent spider boots, which lift each foot off the ground on 4 metal legs, so any blast they set off will not be triggered directly under a sapper's body. They are made by Ihor Efimenko at a factory in Kharkiv based on a modified Canadian prototype. One of my relatives lost a toe because he stepped on a butterfly anti-personnel mine. This shocked me, so I started thinking about ways to prevent such injuries. Working in the production of protection gear, I turned to Ukraine State Emergency Services with my idea. I had a prototype of some kind of steel boots at that stage. They rejected this idea categorically and inspired us to follow this type of boots instead. Oleksandr, the medic treating sappers at the front, knows the danger won't end soon. We would have liked to just wake up one day as if it were a nightmare, a bad dream, and we'd just shrug it off, wash it with cold water, and all of it would remain somewhere behind. But this is the reality.